Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a very impromptu episode of the Celtic transfer talk. This was not planned today. I didn't expect much to happen, but by all accounts, it looks as though the week ahead is going to be very exciting. We've been on top of the board to make signings. We've been top of Neil Lennon to make signings to a team which looks as though it needs new life. And this week, by the papers and the media anyway, looks as though it could be a very interesting one for us. A couple of signings perhaps on the horizon. Not going to get my hopes up quite yet, and I'll discuss everything about it in this video. But it could be a very entertaining week. I've said that enough, but I'm buzzing. 2 signings on the cards? Wake me up. Right then, let's start off by addressing the elephant in the room. Over the past few hours, it has been booming in all the media sources. It's been on Sky Sports, it's been in the papers, it's been all over Twitter. David Turnbull looks to be completing his long-awaited move to Celtic. We've been waiting a year for this. Of course, last season he was meant to join us in that £3 million move from Motherwell until everything collapsed for him. His injury kept him out for the year. He failed his medical at Celtic. I mean, the guy was sitting in the Celtic shirt beside Neil Lennon, about to sign for the club, and it just utterly fell apart in front of him, which was a shame for him, I would imagine. That was a big opportunity for him to move to a club like Celtic and further his career, and then just the worst happened. You know, it's a nightmare scenario, but it looks as though the move is back on, and from the reports it would look to suggest that he will be a Celtic player by the end of the week, which has just came out of nowhere for me. I knew, of course, the interest was still there in David Turnbull. I didn't think we were just going to forget about him and never have that chance of signing him again. But I didn't think it would be happening now. I thought that Celtic would have waited till January, perhaps next season, to get the move done, but it looks as though Neil Lennon, the board, whoever is in charge of this recruitment of David Turnbull, has went, bugger it. We want him now, we don't want to miss out on this opportunity, and that is why we're looking to complete the move. According to Sky Sports News, according to the media, he is a matter of personal terms away from signing. The deal has been agreed with Motherwell, he's ready to meet up with Celtic, and once a contract and such is discussed, he will be in the hoops by the end of the week. Now, I have already spoke briefly on the signing of David Turnbull over the past few weeks. I think we touched on it in one of the other videos, perhaps when we were talking about I'll be in a Yeti or so, and I'm not happy with the signing. I'm just very confused of where his place in the squad will be over the next year. Now, you might come at me with pitchforks and torches when I say this, but I think that David Turnbull is a player we should look to loan out this season if we bring him in. The middle of the park is crowded enough as it is. The past 2 weeks, Twitter has just been filled of threats of not starting in Cham. Everybody's wanting Cham starting. So where exactly does Turnbull come in? Now, I do understand as well though, let's bring this into the equation for a moment. Ryan Christie has come under some amount of abuse over the past week after his performance at the weekend. I still will go off what I said in my 3 Things We Learned video. I don't think that's justified. The man played over in the right wing where it's not his natural position. Ryan Christie is still one of the best attackers we've got at the club, and he showed that last season. He was top scorer for a very large portion of the 2019-20 campaign. But Turnbull, if he comes in, where does he play? Because we're not looking at a player. For me, the original thought when we got linked with Turnbull last season was, right, okay, we missed out McGinn. Turnbull's going to come in and be the Scott Brown replacement. We're going to kind of nurture him into that role. But he's nothing like Scott Brown. He's not a Scott Brown player. David Turnbull is very much attacking. He likes to get forward. He likes to take a lot of shots. A very creative player. Scott Brown is the defensive midfielder. Likes to sit in front of the back line and command from there. That's not going to be David Turnbull. So we've already got McGregor. We've already got Cham. We've got Christie as well. Where does Turnbull fall in the pecking order in terms of our creative midfielders? I don't know what's happening in that situation. We don't want to just sign a player for £2 million, £3 million and then leave him on the bench, stunt his development, and then just have no plans for him. I think we do need to loan him out this season. If I was Neil Lennon, I would honestly look at giving him back to Motherwell for the year, let him develop there, get back from that injury, and then we move on from wherever we lose players next year. Because look, after we win, or after we potentially win 10 in a row, we're looking at probably Cham leaving. You'll have the talk of McGregor leaving. I'm sure Christie will probably be eyeballed. Then there is a place for David Turnbull to come in and become a Celtic regular. That is the perfect opportunity for him. So this year, I would like to see us give him out to someone, give him the opportunity to develop and grow as a player and become a Celtic quality starter. I don't think he's going to get to that level by sitting on the bench every week for the next 12 months. I don't think that's the position Turnbull should find himself in. I was fortunate enough to be watching the Lanarkshire Derby at the weekend. You could say fortunate. It was an absolute stinker of a game. And David Turnbull was the only player who turned up for Motherwell at the weekend. He was brilliant. Of course, Motherwell went on to lose the game 1-0, but he looked really alive in the game. And for a guy who's just came back from missing an entire season almost, you would never think he was out. He was very creative. He was the only one making opportunities for Motherwell, taking all sorts of shots. And one thing that I've always been crying out for Celtic over the past few years is someone to be a bit more ambitious. Take those chances when they have a shot on goal. If you've got a clear line to shoot from, if it's just outside the area, or even in the area, let's not pass it sideways. Let's not look for that final complicated pass. Sometimes we just need to go for goal, and you're definitely going to get that with David Turnbull. He was doing it all sorts at the weekend at Fir Park. I thought he was going to finally score a goal, but Fulton was on top form for Hamilton. Great goalkeeping performance by him, and ultimately just kept out Turnbull's chances, and the other ones went over or wide, whatever, but he looked really good. And I think that's one sort of area that I would like us to build on at Celtic, and that's a player you're going to get doing that if we bring in Turnbull. So it looks as though it's going to be done. I'm buzzing about the potential future for him at Celtic. I just really am kind of baffled of where he will be now. Of course, with Rogic departing the club, well, looking to be departing the club, it is a player to come in and kind of fill that void, but Rogic really hasn't had a place in the team for the past year or so, especially since Lennon has become manager. His days at Celtic were always going to be numbered, but with Rogic leaving and Turnbull coming in, there's still that, there's no really a difference, because where did Rogic get his time over the past year? Turnbull's not exactly coming in to fill for his minutes. He's barely had any minutes. I've seen a lot of people saying, you're joking, we're replacing Tom Rogic with David Turnbull. Look, the statistics go to show that Turnbull's a more prolific player than Tom Rogic. And I'm not coming out here and saying he's a better player. I adore Tom Rogic. The guy gave me the best day of my life, perhaps, in the 2016 Scottish Cup final. 2017 Scottish Cup. But, you can't just quickly turn around and say that Turnbull's not going to be as good as him. Look, he's not had the chance to play around the players Rogic has had to play around. I think Turnbull's going to thrive with these guys beside him. And especially as the years go on. He's only 21, 22 years of age. This is a future Scotland starter as well we're potentially looking at here. We already missed our chances with John McGinn, and we've seen the player he went on to develop. People said the same about him. He playing at Hibs, not going to be able to come in and do what he can. Now look at him. One of the best central midfielders in that kind of area of the Premier League, those mid-table sides. He's done terrific for himself down there. Turnbull had that move to Norwich planned as well. Of course he's got that potential and that quality to move on and play with better players, and I think we'll see that at Celtic whenever the time may be for him. Of course, let's hope we don't miss out on any last minute drama hopefully we do miss out on some, get that completely wrong here. Let's hope we do miss out on some last minute drama. We don't want the move to fall through again. I would feel sorry for him if it did, but he looks fine. He's looking ready to go. As I said, for Motherwell at the weekend, he looked fantastic, and if he's going to bring that energy to Celtic, can't really turn down the move for a decent fee as well. I'm happy with it. What's your thoughts? David Turnbull to Celtic. Looks as though it's going to be happening. Let's move on to the second player, Shane Duffy. Of course, he was linked heavily with us last week. There was a lot of videos on him. I think I've done 2 videos talking about Duffy in particular, and of course in the papers as well. Duffy talking about how his dream target was to get to Celtic. That was the club that he kind of favoured out of all the teams in for him. He's linked with West Brom, West Ham, Leeds United, a few teams in that kind of bottom half of the Premier League. But Celtic was the team he wanted to go to, and this morning, if you've not seen already, Shane Duffy, little post on social media, let's go on a flight. Let's hope that flight was to Terminal 2 at Glasgow Airport, or whatever terminal it would be he arrives at. I'm buzzing at the prospect of him coming. I've said everything I need to say in Shane Duffy, but it's good that there is some form of update as to where he is going and what he's doing, because it's went really quiet. And that terrifies me. I don't like it when things go quiet. I wanted the Shane Duffy hype to keep going every day, because I think he could be the biggest signing of the window for us. I know we've got El Yunusi back on loan. Fantastic bit of business. David Turnbull coming in could be some great business. We got Barkas, who was a very big signing considering we lost Fraser Forster. But for years we've been looking for this kind of centre half. I can't say it enough. He is perfect. He's what we need. Now, I think there is always going to be an element of bomb scare when you get a centre half at Celtic. I feel like it's impossible to get a centre half who isn't a bomb scare. I think we've seen that now. We've seen it in Julian, we've seen it in Ayer. We had Effie Ambrose, we had Dedrick Boyata. There was points where Van Dijk could be a wee bit of a bomb scare. Denier as well. 2 solid players in Van Dijk and Denier, and went on to further their careers at amazing levels. But it just happens from time to time at Celtic. But Shane Duffy is an all-out big man centre-half who's going to take no nonsense, get right through players, and it's what we need. He is the Bobo Baldi that we are looking for. And the fact he's on a flight somewhere this morning means that his future is probably going to end up somewhere over the coming days, whether it's at Celtic or not, which I like, because it's either going to make us sign him or it's going to end the conversation altogether and we move on. Hopefully it's the first. Hopefully he is going to be a Celtic player soon, and that was a flight to Glasgow Airport this morning. Even Prestwick. If it's Prestwick, that's good. It's only down the road. But aye, there is an update on his status right now, and I'm just glad that we can carry on the conversation a little bit longer. Shane Duffy, get yourself a Celtic jersey, big man. We need you. And finally, the last story we're going to talk about is one that's just been popping up here and there, and I don't think there's much to it, but apparently Celtic and Rangers both interested in the individual. Interesting to say the least. Ricardo Riquelme from Atletico Madrid, 20 years of age. He's not really played for Atletico, so I can't sit down behind this camera and say to you that I know much about him. I don't. I'm sure there will be people who have their sources that will give them information. I don't know much about the guy. I think he comes from Real Zaragoza originally. I think that's where he kind of broke through as a youth prospect, moved to Atletico Madrid, but now they're looking to move him on, whether it's through a loan deal or a permanent transfer, right? This is the thing I'm going to get out of the way straight away. Celtic are not going to sign this guy. £30 million release clause. I think it's £27 million, €30 million. We're not going to sign him. There's no chance of that. But there is talk of an interest in a loan move from both Celtic and Rangers in this transfer window. A very interesting one. I mean, it's just really came out of nowhere. A young Spaniard that hasn't played much first team football for Atletico, but I mean, if you are that good to get a move to a team like Atletico Madrid at that age, there has to be some sort of talent there. I got his name wrong a minute ago. It's not Ricardo, it's Rodrigo Riquelme. Don't know if that's a pronunciation, but we're going to roll with it. But the very interesting thing about this is it's something that we've all been crying out for, something that I keep mentioning on this channel like a broken record. That's a right winger. We need a right winger. You know, there's been all this talk about bring back Paddy Roberts, bring him home. I don't know. I've said I'm on the fence with that one. To be honest, I think I'd give this guy a chance if we can get him on a loan move. I've said what I've had to say. You've got to have quality to be playing at a team like Atletico Madrid. They don't just sign nobodies. Of course, must have done something at youth level which has caught the eye of a scout, and, you know, I would be very open to the signing. 43 competitive appearances around all competitions. That includes, you know, I think it's reserve league or whatever. 8 goals, 7 assists, decent return. And he's played in the La Liga. If he's been good enough to get a call up to play for the first team of Atletico Madrid, I'm sure he'll be good enough to play for Celtic. Of course, there's going to be many people saying we know what we're getting with Paddy Roberts, let's go with Paddy Roberts. I don't know. I feel like since Paddy Roberts has left Celtic, it's just kind of went down the way for him. And of course, we could revive that. But in the second season Roberts was here, he dealt with a big injury. And when he wasn't injured, it wasn't that great. I'm just going to be honest about it. I'm not daft on bringing Roberts back. If we bring him back, I'll be happy. It's a right winger. We've done our job. We need to get someone there. But I think I'd like to do this. I'd like to go for Riquelme here. Rangers interested as well. So, you know, clearly quality there. And there's a reason we're looking at these guys. I feel like Neil Lennon's recruitment hasn't been awful either. You know, we've had a few duds. We've had your bowling goalies. But, you know, for every bowling goalie, there's been a Julian. That about does it. I know, I'm doing great at backing up myself here. But no, I think this is something we need to look more into. I personally need to look more into. But it is there. So if you see it popping up more often, you heard it from me as well. There is something to it, I hope. But that is it. That's it for Celtic Transfer Talk today. Let's hope Duffy and Turnbull are done by the end of the week. I mean, I hope Duffy's up to Glasgow. It'll be a mess if he isn't. Just be a complete throw, won't it? Anyway, like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.